So when lawmakers return to session in Albany on May 2nd, they will be tackling a host of tough policy issues, from ethics reform to the property tax cap and the possible extension and strengthening of the rent laws, which expire on June 15th. And then, of course, there is that little matter of the very contentious state vegetable debate, a hotly contested race that has yet to formally be decided, although the Farm Bureau has called it for sweet corn. Now, as if all of this wasn't enough, my next guest has introduced a bill that will undoubtedly raise barks of alarm all over the state. Micah Kellner is a Democratic Assemblyman from Manhattan, and he thinks what New York really needs is an official state dog. Thank you very much for your time, Assemblyman. It's great to see you.
Well, thank you for having me, Liz. I don't think it's going to be barks of alarm. I think it's going to be barks of joy.
I know. I just, look, you know, for one moment, my ability to think of a funny pun just sort of like failed me completely. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. So tell me this. Really, this is semi-serious, actually. You don't want just one dog, because that would really be a problem. What you would like to do is sort of to recognize a whole classification of dogs, a category of dogs, and it's not actually a breed.
That's exactly right, Liz. In New York City alone, over 12,000 dogs came to New York City shelters last year. Thousands more came to shelters across the state. And 90% of these dogs are healthy, treatable animals that are just in need of a loving home. And what we want to do is promote good policy in this state. We don't want these dogs having to be killed unnecessarily. What we want is for them to have that loving home. They will make a great pet. So what we want to promote is people, if they're going to get a dog, they should go and get one from their local rescue group, their local shelter, because there is a perfect dog out there for everybody. They just need to find it.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then why do you need to actually make an official state dog the rescue dog and give it some kind of big name? Why not just pass a resolution promoting animal adoption and be done with it?
Well, I think this does a little more than just encourages folks. I think it, it gives them a sense of pride. It's also good in terms of we want to promote good policy here, Liz. And passing a resolution may not be remembered past that day when we pass that resolution and present it to somebody. But an official state dog, we learn about our official state symbols in school. So children who often want a dog, often want a pet, will learn and be encouraged to tell their parents, if we're going to get a dog, Mom and Dad, let's go to the shelter. Let's go to the local rescue group down the block, and we can find the perfect family dog there.
Yeah, and there are parents all over New York right now who are cursing your name, Assemblyman, because they're saying, you're going to promote dog ownership? I can't get a dog. My kid's allergic, or whatever. I mean, you know, you may be opening a very large can of Alpo. I'm just saying.
Well, I can't stop dogs from being cute and cuddly. There's no legislation that can stop that, but there is a better way to do this. A lot of dogs end up in shelters through no fault of their own, the financial circumstances of their owner, someone moves, someone sadly passes away, and these dogs all need a second chance. We deserve to throw them a bone, and that's why I want to make the state dog. You're ruining my puns here, Liz. This is a bipartisan bill. We have Democrats and Republicans from across the state supporting this. My Senate sponsor, he and I couldn't probably be more ideologically far apart.
Joe
Robach from Rochester, but he has his 3 rescue dogs, and he was incredibly enthusiastic to sponsor this bill, and I think we can get it done. Other Republicans have come and said, oh, I have rescued animals, I want to be a sponsor of this bill. So I think this is something that's easy for the state. Not only doesn't it cost the state any money, it'll actually save the state money. Because if someone is encouraged to go to their local shelter and get a dog out of that shelter, that's one less dog that the locality has to pay to take care of for a period of time. So this can actually save.
Let me just, when you talk about fiscal matters, though, and I know that I like to joke around about this, but I'm going to ask you the same thing that I asked Senator Carlucci when he came in to talk to me about the official state vegetable, which is, aren't there much more serious issues that you could be spending your time on at this point, particularly when the state is facing a fiscal crisis?
Well, Liz, I believe as a legislator that I can, walk and chew gum at the same time, and there are plenty of tough issues I've been working on as well. But, just because we're working on tough issues like ethics reform, I happen to sponsor the public corruption Prevention and Enforcement Act, the most stringent ethics bill in the history of the state, doesn't mean that I can't also be doing something that not only is fun, but promotes good policy, and that's exactly what the state dog, being the rescue dog, does.
Okay, well, fair enough, but I do have to ask you this also, though. Where does it all end? I mean, you have a co-sponsor in the Assembly, Linda Rosenthal, who, when it was noted that the state, for example, doesn't have a state cat, Massachusetts has a state cat, it's the tabby. I would like to hold up at the end for Team Cat, since I happen to have a cat. She said, okay, great, I'll put in a bill, you know, naming a state cat. I mean, okay, if not a state cat, then why not a state ferret and a state snake? Because we just had the huge Bronx Zoo cobra situation. I mean, people love that snake.
Well, I think in these two instances, what Assemblywoman Rosenthal and what I and Senator Robach are trying to do is promote good policy, Liz. You know, I guess we can, you know, name all the different state things. We have a state fossil, we have 3 state fish, we have a state bird, we even have a state insect. But this is an instance where we're actually promoting and telling people of the state of New York, go out and do something good. Go out and save a life. Get an animal that will love you and cherish you forever because it knows that you protected it and got it out of a shelter or got it from a rescue group. And I think that's a worthy cause, and we can make light of it, but it is a worthwhile thing to do.
Right, and of course people would argue there are health benefits to having a pet. It's good for your mental health, of course, and maybe you could even cut down on health care costs and heck, Medicaid costs too. I don't even know. The possibilities are endless, and I'm not trying to make light of it, seriously, but I'm just curious, were you spurred to do this when you saw the coverage of the state vegetable contest, or was this something that you've been thinking about for some time?
Actually, it had nothing to do with the state vegetable. It's something I've been thinking about for a while. I happened to be in the dog run with a good friend of mine one morning. Another friend came in. He said, this is my new dog. It's a Boykin Spaniel. We said, oh, that's great. He said, it's the official dog of the state of South Carolina. My other friend turned to me and said, you know, what's our official state dog, Assemblyman? And I said, you know, I don't even think we have one. We quickly Googled it. We realized we didn't have one. He said, you know what it should be? He's a big rescuer. He said, it should be the rescue dog. He got his dog from a shelter and a rescue group, and he said, that's a great thing to promote. And I said, you know, you're exactly right, and that's where we came up with it, amongst the dogs, literally.
And you don't have a dog, is that correct? You are not a dog owner?
Not right now. I used to have a dog. I'm still looking for that perfect pooch. My living situation isn't ideal to taking care of a dog, but when things settle down and I talk my fiance into it, I'm sure we'll be getting a dog soon.
Okay, and I have one last question. Are you ready?
I'm always ready, Liz.
Okay, Team Onion or Team Sweet Corn?
You know, I'm a big fan of having onions in every meal.
There you go.
So I'm going onion. I'm going onion, Liz.
You're in the minority, Assemblyman Micah Kellner, but thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
It's been a howling good time.